Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to a DFS strategy video for the 2026 Cadillac Championship. My name is Eric, and I'm here with SweetSpotDFS to go over all things Sweet Spot for this week's tournament. I will just be transparent from the very beginning. This tournament has not been played since 2016, which means I don't have a bucket system for it. If you're new to the channel, I go over a thing called the bucket system because it allows us to actually focus in on the stats that matter for this week. Unfortunately, we won't have that. So like what I've been telling most people who've been emailing me, it is traditional analysis as you get it everywhere else. Of course, I'll still be going over the golf course and tournament information. I'll be going over pass optimal and GPP winning lineups, more so to do with strategy this week because DraftKings didn't really start releasing salaries for normal events, and I would consider this a quote-unquote normal event. They didn't start doing salaries until end of 2017 or towards the mid to end of 2017, mostly in 2018. So because this tournament hasn't been played since 2016, there were no DraftKings salaries, meaning there are no pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. It doesn't really matter. We're still going to cover the salaries. We're going to strategize, like, can we build a Scotty Scheffler lineup that looks good this week? We'll compare it to other tournaments that have similar fields, that have similar strength of fields, that have similar salary structures. We'll still do that. And then I'm going to get into the Marquee Tee Times and building lineups at the end of the video using the SweetSpotDFS optimizer, which reminds me, I'm going to throw this out there right away. You can access the optimizer by going to SweetSpotDFS.com and under optimizer, just click that, open up a new window, and the optimizer will appear. It'll look like this. A pop-up will happen shortly. You'll put your email address where it will ask you to put your email address, and then you hit submit. I think it's a little slow. There we go. So you'd put your email address here, request now, and then I will send it to you. I did have a couple requests early this morning. I just sent them out. So if you were waiting for it, you should have it in your inbox right now. But yeah, this kind of transitions me into why I wasn't able to get that optimizer sent out to people earlier. I have gotten a new job, which requires me to be in the office 4 days a week. Now, my previous job, I was able to work from home and kind of, work on the golf stuff while I was also doing that job. Now it doesn't quite work that way, at least not right now, because I just started yesterday, which this was a long time coming. It does prevent me from making updates quickly to the website or even to the cheat sheets and stuff like that. And also to send you the optimizer. I will do my best. I usually keep optimizer requests kind of in my drafts so I can send them out as quick as possible. I will say this, the website, most of you have already known this, the website has been my goal to get everything there. So, there's very little spreadsheet updating that I have to do, because believe it or not, the spreadsheet updating takes several hours to complete. Whereas just updating the website is downloading certain files, adding them to an update file, hitting a macro button, and everything just gets updated and imported into the website. So it's much faster, it's cleaner, and it's easier to present to each and every one of you. It's not recreating something from scratch. So always use the website. If you're not a member yet, there's a link in the description down below. Go click it, become a member, and then, you always have an opportunity to get a monthly membership to this website. We're trying to get, I have goals over there, and I'll go ahead and supply this information. When we reach the goals, not only am I going to give away a monthly membership, that actually happens every single month. I will give out a monthly membership to anybody who participates in the giveaways. And if you want to learn how, you can read right here, or there's a link in the description down below that'll there's a video there that'll explain how to get entries into any of the giveaways that I provide. Yeah, be subscribed. Once we hit, you know, that subscriber goal, I'll give a t-shirt away to go with the membership. And then that way, you know, you get a nice little win. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is go to the website, use the website whenever you can, because that will always be updated first. The spreadsheets will be updated second until I get everything into the website. Then the spreadsheets will cease to exist. They will. I won't be doing spreadsheets anymore. So just throwing that out there. Just get used to the website. Logan in the chat. Well, first of all, this is a live stream, just so all of you guys know. Hello, Joanne. Good evening to you. And Logan in the chat said, "Hey, don't forget to remind me that we reached 25 likes on one of the videos a couple weeks ago. So therefore, I'm going to give away 5 YouTube memberships, which I'm going to do right now. This happens anytime any of my videos reach 25 likes. So if you want a chance to get a YouTube membership, well, hit the like button. Be subscribed, hit the like button, and make sure your gifts are enabled on your account. That's the only way that you're going to get a YouTube membership from me. So here we go. We'll give out 5 memberships right a meow. Eric Carnivore, Stankowski, Z Chronic Nebula, Chad McNames, and the real Saitama Sama. Okay, I think that's how you say that name. Logan, we weren't able to get you again. I am so sorry about that. Something has to be up with your account. I swear to God. I swear to God. It was questioning that 5th name. It was like, we need to find one more person, and then they found one more person. There's something up with it, Logan. Something is up with it. Okay, I'm going to bring that down. Another giveaway that is provided is the SweetSpotDFS.com giveaway. Go create an account at SweetSpotDFS.com. It's free. You can create a free account to be entered into this giveaway, and then once this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers, I will give away $1,000 worth of giveaways. Again, go check out the description of this video. I have a link to a video that explains how to gain entries and covers all of the giveaways that I typically run on this channel. Okay. I think that's it. That is that covers everything. Again, this is a live stream, so I have people that are participating in the chat that I like to talk to. Wheels Up says, congratulations on the new job. I know you're a smart guy. Who wouldn't move for less value? Isn't even if the numbers look different. I'm sure this brings a lot of good too, remote or not. Yeah, no, it's wonderful, dude. I'm not going to explain the entire story, but it was very serendipitous as to how I got the position and everything that went behind it. It's all things good. It's a company that actually wants me. Not saying the other company didn't, but they certainly didn't show that they wanted me as this company does. So anywho's, let's get on with the show and move on to the golf course and tournament information. Okay. Like I said in the intro, this tournament hasn't been played since 2016. You can see that in the tournament stats page that I have at SweetSpotDFS.com. We can see 2026. We have a 72-man field. It is a signature event. 652 is your strength of field, which is actually lower, believe it or not, than the previous iterations of this tournament back in 2016, 2015, 2014, and 2013. That has a lot to do because the number 2 ranked golfer in the world is not in this field, nor is the number 3. And I don't remember where Xander is, but Xander is also not in this field. And also Patrick Cantlay just withdrew. So there are several golfers inside the top 20 of the strength of field, or the OWGR, I should say, that are not in this field, dropping the strength of field down lower than it most likely would be. But as you can see, this is being played at the Doral Golf Resort. I think it's got Trump's brand on it. I don't remember how, like, the whole wording of it, but it's Doral. The golf course is Doral, and it is the Blue Monster. Now, I like to go over the tournament and golf course information because it gives us some good stat points or some good data points to use when researching this event. So, as you can see, again, strength of field is greater than 650, so we can use that. We can use Doral. Average winning score is -11. You can kind of see a little discrepancy here. -4 is the highest winning score we've ever seen. Patrick Reed won that back in 2014, and the lowest is Tiger Woods back in 2013. Now, my data only goes back to 2013. This tournament has been playing a lot longer than that, but since 2013, that is the lowest winning score. This golf course has a lot of water on it, and that if any wind blows, it makes this tournament very tough. It makes it tougher than than it typically would. So it really depends, and I think the forecast for Thursday, Friday, Saturday looks like it's going to be pretty benign conditions. Like, there's not a lot of wind, there's not a lot of rain. I don't even think there's any rain forecasted Thursday through Saturday, but Sunday looks a little dicey with wind and with probably storms coming in. So that might make a Sunday round of scoring high, I suppose. But I would imagine the winning score is going to be somewhere between that -11 to -15 range. Maybe -10 to -14. Maybe somewhere in there. Give ourselves like 4 points to work with. I think that's probably correct. So what do you do with this type of information, with these data points? This is my biggest bugaboo whenever I'm listening to anybody talk about it. Find golfers. If you're going to talk about data points, find golfers to pick. So what I would recommend for any of you guys, anytime you're at SweetSpotDFS.com, any of the filter buttons on the left can be used to filter out by those data points. So when it comes to tournament stats, remember the strength of field is greater than 650. So I would just put in 600 to 923. We can do that. It is a signature event, so we can go ahead, drill down on signature as well. We could do that. We could change the field size, but I think this will work. Signature is fine. And what will happen is this little top right section of this page here, the strokes gain stats page. First of all, I'm going to change the date. There we go. This strokes gain page. What you will find out, this is a summary of this week's event. Has the salaries as well as the golfers next to them and what their average strokes gain stats are for the time frame that I have and the filter I provided. So within the last year, going by the strength of field and signature events, if I sort by strokes gain total from best to worst, you have Scotty Scheffler, who's almost a full stroke above anybody else. Then it's Tommy Fleetwood, Colin Morikawa, Russell Henley, Alex Smalley, Kurt Kitayama. Patrick Cantlay is no longer in the field. That is one update I need to make to get him out. Michael Thorbjornsen replaced him, by the way. And then it's Harris English, Ryan Fox, and Jordan Spieth. Now, you can see all of the, well, I should say, you can see the amount of rounds that each of these golfers have, kind of in that magical 24 to 32 round window that a lot of people like to use. I think that's a pretty good sample size for a lot of these golfers. Listen, Kurt Kitayama was kind of a favorite golfer of mine in the 7K range to use. Seeing Ryan Fox up there is very interesting. To me, he's maybe a bit of a sprayer of the golf ball, and that might, I'll just say this, it'll help the fact that his ranking here with the conditions that I put in there, this looks pretty good. I was already on Jordan Spieth. The fact that he's 10th when it comes to this type of filtering that I provided, I like that quite a bit. So all of these things, or all these golfers here, maybe minus Alex Smalley because there's only 4 rounds of golf to his name. And we can see what tournament that is if you drill down on it. And it was this year's AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am where he finished 19th. Maybe exclude him and you have a better picture. Of course, you can scroll down a little bit just to see how well other golfers have done with these conditions. But that was just 2 filters I provided: signature as well as strength of field. Now I can remove those. And what we can do, let's move on actually from tournament stats. I mean, we could do average winning score. Let's do that really quick. Average winning score of -11. I'm going to go between -10 and -14. So I'll go back to the strokes gained stats and go down here to winning score. The lower scores on the left, that's, you know, lower in golf is better. So -14 to -12. And just go ahead and keep it right here. And over the last year, there's some limited events. So let's move it just maybe a little bit further. Yeah, this is fine. So some of these golfers have maybe a few more events than I really care for. Actually, let's change that. Move it to here. No, how about 1 more month? Still, I want to get these golfers who have 40 less than 40. There we go. This is perfect. Perfect. So yeah, I went a little bit further back than a year, but that's just to get some of these guys between that 24 to 32 round threshold. And again, Scotty Scheffler is your best golfer in the field. Now, Sudarshan Yelamaraju, he played the Players Championship this year and finished 5th. And that one performance has his strokes gained total a little bit higher than Scotty's, but Scotty has 32 rounds of golf just following this this criteria of winning score that I provided as a filter. Paul Morikawa was up there again. He was up there with Scotty when I had the other filters, and he's actually closer to Scotty using these filters than the previous ones. So he's an interesting play. So too is Russell Henley and Tommy Fleetwood. Same with Sepp Straka. This is another golfer that we kind of, well, scrolling down, you saw Sepp Straka a little bit closer to the top 10. He wasn't quite in the top 10 using the previous filters, but yeah, Sepp Straka is an interesting play. And then Corey Connors is up there as well. $6,900 for Corey Connors. That's not terrible. Now, he was not up towards the top when we applied signature events as well as strength of field. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe pump your brakes on Corey Connors, or maybe it makes you want to play Corey Connors a little bit more. I don't know. It's not bad. Those are all golfers that are very interesting to consider this week. I will go ahead and clear out the winning score criteria and move on to the golf course stats. Now, this is a page at SweetSpotDFS.com under Fantasy Tools Golf Course Stats. And I have the Cadillac Championship selected on our tournament, as well as the golf course as the Doral Golf Resort. You can see the yardage. The yardage does need to get updated. The GCSAA did not provide tournament fact sheets, so I haven't been able to update this according to what the proper, statistics are. I don't know. I could go to the PGA Tour Media Center and figure out what the yardage book or what the scorecard will look like for yardage and update that. But when it comes to grass stats, the turf grass length, whether or not this is overseeded, I don't have that information to provide you guys. So as far as I know, this is Bermuda grass, and I know the yardage is being played around 7,700 yards. This is something that Byron and I talked in the preview that we did Sunday night, so go check that out if you haven't. We discussed what the salaries would probably look like for each of the golfers, and then we kind of strategized, based off of the statistics of the golf course, which golfers would probably play better at this tournament. Go check that out if you haven't yet. But that is more of a preview, where this is more of a strategy. We're trying to find the best players to put in our lineups this week. So with that being said, I mean, we can use yardage. We can also use turf grass as other filters that we can provide. So one is I would go to grass stats. And for this, let's just go ahead and under greens, put in Bermuda. Just drill down on Bermuda. Again, I want to get to that 24 to 32 round sample size for most of these golfers here at the top 10. So I'll play with the dates to try to get to that. And just moving it to April kind of fix that. So let's move it to April 10th. Perfect. This is perfect. So again, I'm trying to find that 24 to 32 round sample size. And this is almost a year's worth of data under the Bermuda stats filter. So your best golfer, Scotty Scheffler, then followed by Cam Young. They're your two most expensive golfers in the field. Scotty, thankfully, is not 14,000. I thank DraftKings so much for not putting him at 14,000. Byron and I were discussing this quite a bit. I really, really wanted him to be 13.6. Really wanted him to be 13.6. So happy that that happened, that he was that price. Sudarshan also shows up again. So Yellow Mirage, Sudarshan Yellow Mirage seems like a pretty good play, especially at 7,000 flat. I think this would be fine. And I don't mind kind of using, because he, part of why his stats are so good is the Players Championship, finished 5th there. Also, Texas Children's Houston Open at Memorial Park, where the golf course is really long. He finished 6th there as well. So playing these long golf courses, not terrible, especially if they're on Bermuda. It's not, okay, very interesting. Tommy Fleetwood's up there again. Russell Henley's up there as well. Victor Hovland was kind of poking around when we put those filters on for strength of field as well as signature event for the filters that I use that way. And then new names are Ben Griffin, Harry Hall, Alex Noren. We didn't really see those golfers in any of those other filters, but the repeats that we've been seeing is Scotty. First time actually seeing Cam Young, but it was Scotty, Sudarshan. We've seen Siwoo at least one other time, maybe two. Tommy Fleetwood, Russell Henley, and Victor Hovland. Those are your main golfers that you see quite a bit. So building a lineup around those guys, I think, is going to be just fine. I think that works out just fine. So yeah, those are ways you can use filters by going under the tournament and golf course stats tools at SweetSpotDFS.com. And of course, if you want to look to see what kind of shot shapes might be preferred here, you can go ahead and take a look down here or check out the summary that is provided right here where I'm circling my mouse, right above my head. If shot shapes matter to you for this week, you can use that as a filter as well. All you have to do is under the course stats filter, scroll down to shot shapes and basically just take a look. Okay, what are we really trying to filter out? Well, let's just do at least one draw and at least 2 fades. I think that would be just fine. So I'm going to use approach. So it's 1 total approach, 1 total fade. I mean, you get the same golfers pretty much that are at the top. Maybe get closer to only a month's worth of time. And yeah, we see a kind of a different grouping of golfers at the top, but we see a lot of the same dudes. Scheffler, Fleetwood, Young, Henley, Morikawa, Ben Griffin stays up there now. And then Harry Hall as well. Adam Scott, first time seeing him up here. I do like Adam Scott this week. I think Adam Scott would be a good play. Anyways, that's it, man. I'm not going to speak to any more about the golf course and the tournament information. I gave you the information that you need to know, as well as how to use that information, where I feel like most people don't do that. So, good, we went over some of those golfers. Probably best to anchor your lineups around them. You don't have to, but I think it'd probably be good for you to do so. Anyways, let's move on. This is a live stream yet, just to remind you guys. So let me check out the chat before I move on to the next segment. Wheels Up says that Cantlay's withdraw makes Thorbjornsen an excellent play. I don't mind that. C Chronic Nebula coming in. All right, all right, all right. That is a reply to his gifted membership. Being wanted is a real necessity in a relationship to make the workload and purpose feel worth it. That is, I agree, man. I agree. I'm always gifted subs in the MMA streets, so we're good. If you actually earn it, maybe I'll stop being cheap. What's going on, Lombardi Lee? You were saying hi to Eric Carnivore, but I haven't seen him yet. He got gifted a membership. I haven't seen Eric Carnivore in a long time. AJ Love goes, by the way, I am here was using my calculator. All right, man. I don't know what you're using your calculator for, but glad you were using your calculator. All right, moving on. Pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. I'm actually going to start right here with the cheat sheet. I am going to be transparent. There haven't been pass optimal and GPP winning lineups for the Cadillac Championship because this tournament, the last time we saw this tournament was 2016. DraftKings started doing salaries for most tournaments at the end of 2017 or the beginning of 2018. So it completely missed the Cadillac Championship. So I don't have analysis to do for the Cadillac Championship for past optimal and GPP winning lineups. But we can still forecast, or we can still strategize based off of the salaries that we know that DraftKings have for this week's Cadillac Championship. First things first, Scottie Scheffler, $13,600. It's pretty cheap, man. That's pretty cheap. I'm glad to see that price tag is going lower. I did discuss this with Byron in our Sunday preview pod when we always recap the tournament that just ended and we look forward to the next tournament, which obviously was the Cadillac Championship. We were talking a lot about salaries, and especially with Scottie Scheffler, it's like, man, I can't. Byron thought he was going to be 14.5 or 14.4 or higher, and I'm like, man, I don't see that happening because, you know, when it comes to salaries, there is a sweet spot, I feel like, for DraftKings, and it is not to have Scottie Scheffler at 14,000. I think if you put Scottie Scheffler at 14,000, first of all, it should just be 14 flat, maybe 14.1, 14.2 at most. But what we've really been seeing, especially when the salaries are a lot like this, where you've got Scottie that's top price, then the next guy is 10,000, and he's the only other guy that's 10,000 or more. Anybody that's in that 9K range or below is almost automatically going to push out Scottie Scheffler from being a good play, even if Scottie wins. And a large part of that, if you just think about the strategy behind it, with all, I should say, the original analysis that comes with pass optimal and GPP winning lineups pretty much relied upon DraftKings salaries being the same or being very consistent. And for 4 years, not 4 years, no, 6 years, for 6 years, DraftKings salaries have relatively been the same. You'd see somewhere between 4 to 6 10K golfers. Then you'd see anywhere between 5 to 7 9K golfers. And then you'd always see around 10 8K golfers. That's the magic number with 8K golfers, is 10. Well, when you've got price tiering like that, sometimes you would have 2 golfers in that 10K range and above inside the top 10. Because there were more than 2 golfers, as you see on the screen right now, there are more than 2 golfers that were 10K and above. Now, when you drop down that price from the 10K range down to the 9K, now you take the 4 golfers that were in the 10K range, and now you make that 2. Well, the 2 bottom 10K golfers of a traditional DraftKings salary board, those guys had a pretty good chance to win the tournament. And now you're putting them into a 9K range. Well, now those original 10K golfers, if they had finished, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, or even 10th place in the 10K range, you wouldn't be able to play them. Like Scotty could outperform them and build better lineups because those other golfers didn't provide a good salary relief. Now those golfers are in the 9K range, giving more salary relief for you to play higher priced golfers. And usually the cream rises to the top for most events. If you've ever been, if you follow this channel long enough, I have always analyzed salaries for top 10 leaderboards. And when we look at top 10 leaderboards, you always find 1 to 2 10K golfers in it. You always found, 1 to 3 9K golfers in it, 1 to 3 8K golfers in it. And then it's like, you fill in the rest with mostly 7Ks and some 6Ks. Now, if you rarely ever saw 3 10Ks, 3 9Ks, 3 8Ks to make out 9 of the 10 golfers inside the top 10. You rarely ever saw that. You would see some mixture of 1 10K, 3 9Ks, 1 8K, so that's 5. And then the rest of the 5 golfers would be, 3 7s and then 2 6s. Or you would see 3 10Ks, 1 9K, 2 8Ks, and then 4 that were 7s or 6s. You'd see something like that. Now we only have 2 options for 10K golfers. So even if those 2 10K golfers finish inside the top 10, that still provides a lot of 9Ks and 8Ks to finish inside that top 10. And if Scotty doesn't boat race everybody, meaning he doesn't win by like 3 or 4 shots or more, the amount of DraftKings points he's going to score is going to be less. I should say this. The amount of DraftKings points he's going to score with a 6K golfer, because you're going to have to put those 2 golfers together in order to average out a lineup for salaries to match one that has 2 9s, 2 8s, and 2 7s. You will have to actually, for Scotty, you're going to have to grab 2 6Ks most likely. Probably like a mid 6 and a high 6, or maybe 2 high 6K golfers or a bunch of 7Ks. Either way, that whole thought process when it comes to building Scotty lineups is that a better replacement? If you were to do a 3v3, is Scotty and 2 6Ks or a Scotty, a 7 and a 6 going to outperform 2 9s and an 8? Probably not. He hasn't yet. He hasn't been dominant like he was the previous couple of years. He's been playing good golf, don't get me wrong. He's been playing good golf, but he just hasn't been dominant in order to pay off his price tag. And I'm a huge Scotty truther. I love Scotty Scheffler, but my bankroll, no matter how much I try to convince myself Scotty's the best player every single week, my bankroll tells me otherwise. Literally. I've built lineups where I'm 60% in on Scotty Scheffler. 60% of my lineups with Scotty. Even when he plays well, like at the RBC Heritage, where he finished second behind Matt Fitzpatrick. What was Matt Fitzpatrick's price tag? He was like $9,500 or $9,200. I can't remember. He was in the 9K range. That already disqualifies Scotty from being in a good lineup or in a big winning lineup. Just already, because you can't put those 2 golfers together. Scotty with another 9K. So it is very challenging. It's difficult because, like I said, I really like Scotty Scheffler. I want to play him in as many lineups as I possibly can. But when DraftKings does salaries like this, it doesn't really lend itself to making, like, it just, again, because when you go 8K and above, just 8K and above, you're going to find that a lot of those golfers finish inside the top 10. I shouldn't say a lot of them. You're going to find at least 3 to 5 from 8K and above inside the top 10. Well, what is that, the ordering going to be this week? Could be Scotty winning, But in second place, it could be a $9,100 Sam Burns. And putting Scotty and Sam Burns together doesn't guarantee you that you're going to win a lot of money, because then you have to pair them up with at least 3 6K golfers. And, you know, these types of events don't really lend themselves to 6K success. So it's difficult. Now, enough with the rant. If we were to go into the historic salary builds, again, this is at SweetSpotDFS.com under historic salary builds, under fantasy tools. What you can do is first, let's take a look. Actually, let's back up. This page here keeps track of 3 different lineup types: the GPP winner, the optimal lineup, and the sweet spot optimal. Now, you can also apply a lot of the filters over here that we already provided for other tools using the golf course stats as well as the tournament stats. You can go ahead and do the same thing. But one thing I like to do is look at these successful lineups and just find whenever there's been a $13,000 golfer. So let's say 13-2. And then we will move this and make it a 14-4. Let's just go ahead and put it right in there. 13-2 to 14-4. And then also I'm going to go into the tournament filter here, select all, and then type in tour or tour championship and remove that because I don't want to see that. And what we find out is there's been 25 lineups that have used, you know, someone between 13,200 to 14,400. And you can see the most common lineup builds. The most common is a 10, 8, 2 7s, 2 6s. You drill down into this, you'll be able to see where those lineups came from. 3 of them came from the 2026 American Express, so that's all 3 lineups: Sweet Spot Optimal, GPP, and Optimal. Then you had the BMW in 2025, the Open Championship in 2025 as well. Then each Memorial Tournament lineup: Sweet Spot Optimal, GPP, Optimal, and then 3 Byron Nelsons. So really, you had 5 different events where you've seen this type of lineup. So it doesn't really count for 11, in my opinion. It's really just 5. But you can kind of see what it looks like right here. Now, another tool you can use is the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups. We can go ahead and put the same filtering in that we just did. And we'll go highest price golfer 13-2 to 14-4. So that will filter out all of the tournaments that we want to look at where a lineup, a successful lineup, had had a golfer that was in that price range. That's, sorry to be redundant, but that's all I was trying to get at. So we can go between the 2 tools and just look, okay, what tournament do we really want to look at? So we have the American Express, the Memorial, and Byron, the Byron Nelson, where we can go through all that. I'm going to actually look at the Byron Nelson first. So we can go ahead and put in Byron, drill down into that, and then pick 2025, and then whatever lineup we want to look at. So here is a lineup from last year's CJ Cup Byron Nelson, where Sky Scheffler was $13,300, and the next golfer in that lineup was an $8,100 Eric Cole. That is somewhat where I think you kind of have to think about lineups with Scotty even this week. But to go to a different lineup, the optimal lineup still had Eric Cole in there with Scotty Scheffler, and also same with Sweet Spot Optimal. Now, the other tournament that we looked at was the Memorial, or one of the tournaments we found was the Memorial. So starting with the Sweet Spot Optimal, it was 13-3 yet again for Scotty, and then it was an $8,000 Keegan Bradley. We went to the Optimal. It actually went 13-3 into 8,800, but you had a Stoneman 6K Brant Snedeker in that lineup. That probably is not going to happen this week. Just throwing that out there. And then we also, in the GPP winner, you had an 8,000 flat Keegan Bradley. So that's kind of how I'm thinking lineup builds are going to be this week as well. If I go to 2026 and not in the Memorial, but the American Express, we kind of looked at this one during the preview with Byron. You have a 14-2 Scotty into an $8,100 Jason Day. Same thing with the optimal lineup, and then the sweet spot optimal, very much the same. It's actually a lot of the same golfers except for the last guys. Yeah. So if we look at this week's tournament and we look at our price tags, you're basically going to be adding Scotty with probably one of the following golfers. We'll start in the 8K range and just go Ben Griffin, which we did see him in a couple of the other filters that we provided, like the best golfers with the filters that we applied. Ricky Fowler, $8,000. Akshay Bhatia, who plays well on coastal courses, which this is. He played well at the API. He won that tournament. That was mostly to do with putting, though. I'm not going to rely on that this week for Akshay. But still, $8,100 kind of fits that mold. If 81 isn't that big of a deal to you and you're just like, I just want to find a low 8K golfer, I think Jordan Spieth, Jacob Bridgman, and Adam Scott are all wonderful choices to also build your Scotty Scheffler lineups around. I could even go as far up as Harris English, but I think that's my cutoff, would be Harris English, and then just one of these 8K golfers to follow it up with some of the two of these 7K golfers. I like Gary Woodland. I know a lot of other people do at $7,400. I think that's a good play, is to go there. I also don't mind. I mean, I like Kurt Kitayama. So you could choose Kurt Kitayama with Gary Woodland. Find one of these 8K golfers. Maybe it's Jordan Spieth. You also go with Scotty Scheffler. And then some of these 6K golfers. Corey Connors was a good choice. Like when we were filtering out, I should say, when we were adding filters to our, what would we call it? Our research? Yeah, when we were adding filters to our research, Corey Connors popped a couple times. Playing him, I think, it's a wonderful choice. I'm trying to find, there was one other golfer I thought that was in the 6K. Ryan Fox, yeah. $6,800 Ryan Fox was also a decent consideration. I wouldn't have an issue playing any of the likes of Sung J M, who I think his irons are, somewhat back. He just needs to be a better putter. So I like Sung J quite a bit. Matt Wallace popped a couple times, so I don't mind Matt Wallace. I also don't mind Andrew Novak, Austin Smotherman, Andrew Putnam. Those are all golfers that I'm actually pretty interested in playing. Hoagie's down here at $6,100. Maybe this is a good course for Hoagie. I don't know. But you do have some 6K options to go with some of your 7K golfers, and then maybe one 8K and Scotty Scheffler. So making a case for Scotty Scheffler lineups, it looks pretty good. It does. It does look pretty good. But also so does starting your lineups with a 9-9-8-8. Or even if you wanted to go Cam Young at 10-2, you can still do a pretty solid 10-9-8-7-7-6 lineup. Especially if you were to go Cam Young into Chris Goddard, who I like quite a bit, into Victor Hovland. Those three golfers, I think, that's just such a dynamite start to building your lineups. I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. So, I think that's all I'm going to leave that at when it comes to pass optimal and GPP lineups. I just wanted to talk salaries and try to figure out what the most optimal way to go about building lineups this week would be. And I think it is like every week, it's definitely to Scotty Scheffler or to not Scotty Scheffler. That is the question. Do you play him? Do you not? Actually, let's go back one more. If we went to historic salary builds and we put in some of those conditions that we did, those filters that we did before, so a signature event, and we changed the strength of field from to go from 600 to say 800, and we keep those filters here, your most common lineup build is a 10-8-8-7-7-6. And we can kind of see a lot of these events right here. 10-8-8-7-7-6. followed by 1098-776, which is the common jingle on this channel, and a 1098-777. So you're basically, the template is 1098-776, and then you can make a couple substitutions, up to a couple. If you started with a 1098-776 and you subbed 1-9 to an 8, there you go. You got your most common salary build. If you started with this 1098-776 and you replace the 6 with another 7, there you go. 10-8 3 7s and a 6. That's kind of a big jump, but it's worthwhile to mention. 10-9-8-7-6-6. It's another iteration of the 10-9-8-7-7-6 lineup. So you certainly could do that as well. If I were to go ahead and use the optimizer to build the best Scottie Scheffler lineup, let's see what it does. Oh my God, it actually goes into the 9K range, which I'm not a huge fan of. I don't really care to do these two 7Ks. That's insane. I'm going to kick out Hideki. But interesting to know, Hideki is one of the top choices. Wow. Scotty and Tagad are up, and then these two low 7K golfers, Smith and Potkeeter. I don't think so. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. Something like this. Scheffler, Spieth, Harry Hall, Hisatsune, Yellow Mirage. Let's kick one of those guys out. I am not going to play two 7K golfers like that. Just ain't going to happen. Not going to happen. There we go. 10-8, 3 7s, and a 6. And that is Ryan Fox to go with Harry Hall, Gerard, and Yellow Mirage. I'm going to remove that. And also, well, Yellow Mirage, I think, is probably the slam dunk of the week, in my opinion. Let's kick out maybe Harry Hall. Harry Hall did show up when we were adding all those filters to those tools. He was showing up as one of the better golfers. Look at this. I said I'd go all the way up to Harris English. And there's Corey Connors and Ryan Fox. This is a pretty good lineup. I think what I want to do, I'll do one more, and I want to kick out Ryan Gerard. A low 6K golfer in Grazerman. Pearson Cootie shows up. We have a $9,100 golfer, Sam Burns. Still going with the $9,100. And now we go to the $8,000 golfer. And this one isn't so bad. 10, 8, 2 7s, 2 6s. That's what the most common lineup build is. Using the or finding a successful lineup with a $13,000 to $14,000 golfer like we have this week. And this one actually has Ricky Fowler in it. Look at that. Justin Thomas, Yellow Mirage, Connors, and Ryan Fox. That is crazy. 10-8, 3 7s and a 6. Alex Norton was up there. Okay. 10-8, 3 7s and 6. That is fine. I mean, we can build some more lineups here towards the end. Now, if we're not picking Scottie Scheffler, let's see what the most optimal lineup build is. It's 3 9s and 3 7s, kind of like I was mentioning. Not so much how I was mentioning, but I think a lineup like this is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty good. Fleetwood, Goddard, Burns, Højgaard, Hall, Pendrith. I kick out Harry Hall. Harry Hall's not a bad play this week, ladies and gentlemen. I have no issues with that. 3 9s, 2 8s, 2 9s, an 8, and 3 7s. That's very interesting. 2 9s, an 8, 3 7s yet again. 9 9 8 7 7 6. Kind of like that. That one looks pretty good. Gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again. Okay. Yeah, again, we'll build more lineups a little bit later, but those are just some ideas as to how to build lineups this week. That's all I have for Pass Optimal and GPP win lineups. All I would suggest any of you to do, go to SweetSpotDFS.com under Fantasy Tools, find the tools that I've already covered. Historic salary builds, Pass Optimal, and GPP win lineups. We went over tournament stats, golf course stats. Use all of that to your advantage. We will not be talking about the bucket system this week, and I'll show you why. I'm going to drill down into the bucket system. And you will see there are some anchor buckets that go with the Cadillac Championship. The issue is some of these didn't have the Zurich Classic, like these tournament, the Cadillac Championship from 2016 and beyond did not have the Zurich as a team event before the start of this tournament. So these last week stats just wouldn't make sense. I'm not even going to apply that. Obviously, we don't have last year's stats because there wasn't the Cadillac Championship last year, meaning there's also, I wouldn't even use course history because the course history stats this week are going to be very different than you would see in normal weeks. And then recent form, maybe that's the only one that we could kind of use that would make sense because I don't really think that really changes. If I'm being honest with you guys, I don't really think it changes. So recent form ones, we can grab one of them. Recent form 2s and recent form 3s, we also have 2 of those. So we could do that. But I'm going to be transparent with you guys. For the buckets, I left this wide open, 0 to 6 for every single bucket except for the salaries. The salaries I'm still keeping the same, and then the Marquee Tee Times I'm still keeping that the same. But the rest of the buckets wide open. This is just based off of metric and metric alone. That's all we're going for. So just trying to find the best golfers to put in our lineups. It's up to you to do the research and then filter out the golfers you don't like. And the way you filter them out is, say you don't like Hideki Matsuyama, you just put a no under this lock column. So you just put a no. And that way the optimizer does not select Hideki Matsuyama. It's up to you guys how you want those lineups built. Okay, before I move on, I'm going to go ahead and do a roll call, and then we are going to get into the Marquee Tee Times. We're going to build lineups, and then we're going to get out of here. I had mentioned earlier that I got a new job. With the new job and going into the office, ooh, man, it makes me tired. Makes me real tired. So I also just don't have a lot to cover with this event. So we're not going to spend too much more time on it. I will be live tomorrow night, by the way. Wednesday night, I still be live for YouTube members. The white tier and above status. If you are not yet a YouTube member, click the little join symbol down there to the left or click the dollar symbol down here to the right. You should see all the tiering options that you can choose. Choose the white tier. White tier allows you to see live streams. So go and check that out. All right. I'm going to paste the roll call into the chat. It is which 2 golfers are you anchoring your lineups around? Then we're going to get into Marquee Tee Times right after that, and then we're going to build some lineups. Roll call number 1. This is the last week before the monthly giveaway. Oh, I forgot to do a giveaway. And Denny, I forgot to pay you from last week. Well, roll call's happening. Go ahead, do the roll call. I'm going to do this giveaway. We're going to do the weekly giveaway right now. A little late, but you know, better late than sorry. Never, something like that. Anyways, here we go. Lombardi Lee, congrats, man. Roll call number 1. Sorry, was a little late on that one. Lombardi Lee, you won $5 for the weekly giveaway. Congratulations. Let me know where to send it. And we added that there. Okie doke. What? Oh, all good? Yeah. Okay. AJ Love says Yella and Bridgman. Nathan goes Young and Burns. Wheels Up says Colin and Jordan. Ooh, very interesting. And Denny goes Scotty in English. I like that too. Looks pretty good. Okay. Anybody else in chat, let me know. We are going to move on to the Marquee Tee Times and then build lineups. Here we go. Now, I kind of mentioned this before. I didn't really have an opportunity to build a spreadsheet for the Cadillac Championship. I mean, I have no other spreadsheets built for the Cadillac Championship. Back when I started spreadsheeting, that was in 2017. When I started doing this tournament had been sunsetted. Like they stopped this tournament. They were no longer going to do this tournament. Or I should say, I can't think of the word. This tournament was no longer on the schedule. A lot of it had to do with the fact that Trump became president, and that, that whole thing. So now that this is back, or I should say back then, I'm like, well, what's the point of spreadsheeting for this? So I just didn't do it. But I also wouldn't have had any other Marquee Tee Times for it. I wouldn't have the buckets. Anyways, why am I getting to this? I think part of it has to do with the fact that there's no history that I have with the Cadillac Championship. And the only reason I created the spreadsheet was to do Marquee Tee Times. That was literally it. The only reason that I did a spreadsheet, and the only reason why there's a cheat sheet out there for you guys to use, which I forgot to mention, if you go to the website, SweetSpotDFS.com, and you click under cheat sheet, if you scroll down on the page, you will come to this cheat sheet right here. If you click here, you will get this Google sheet, which you guys can use however you see fit. But for me, yeah, I like I've always wanted to do, get out of spreadsheeting and have everything on the website, including the Marquee Tee Times, including the model, all that stuff, which eventually we'll get there, even with the new job that I have. I'm still dedicated to doing this, so that will be updated at some point in time. But when it comes to spreadsheeting, this is the only way that I can do the Marquee Tee Times. So I have to do the spreadsheets in order to do the Marquee Tee Times. Your number one group is Scotty Scheffler and Cam Young. They're putting the two best golfers together. So that makes life easy, right? It's not like you were going to pair these golfers up together anyways. And oh, by the way, for those that don't know what this segment is, you select 2 to 4 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times, and you don't pair up any of them together. I should say you don't pair up the same, or you don't pair up golfers from the same group. So Scotty Scheffler and Cam Young, you wouldn't pair them up together anyways, but you wouldn't want to because of the Marquee Tee Times. Chris Gotterup and Hideki Matsuyama. So I can use these two golfers as an example. If you're interested in playing Gotterup and Matsuyama together, I would highly suggest against it. The numbers are not in your favor for that ever working out. Moving on to the next twosome, it is Russell Henley and Siwoo Kim. This is your third ranked group in the field that are paired up together. Group 4 is Fleetwood and Hovland. Now that's interesting because I do like Hovland quite a bit. I also like Fleetwood. Pairing them up together, probably not going to do that, but it does open up different types of lineups. I mean, shoot, you could do a Gotterup, Siwoo Kim, Victor Hovland lineup, and it will look extremely juicy. Colin Morikawa and Ricky Fowler is in Group 5. Group 6 is the old guys, Justin Rose and Adam Scott. I like Adam Scott. Don't really care for Rose. Group after that's Kurt Kitayama and Yellow Miraju. Interesting, because I like Kitayama and I like Yellow Miraju. It's just, and now you can't pair them up together. At least I wouldn't suggest doing that. Then you've got two buddies. So this is always interesting. When you get two really good friends playing together, this can do one of, actually, this is a Captain Obvious moment. It can do one of three things. Both golfers will be able to draft off each other playing better golf than they normally do. Or maybe they get too comfortable and they play worse golf than they typically do. Or one golfer plays well and the other one does not. Obviously, those are kind of your three options, no matter what. But when it comes to a group like this, I actually think this will benefit them more. To be able to have kind of a casual round of golf for either of those two guys, I think benefits them now than it would have in the past. I think as we get older, playing with friends or playing with friendly competition boosts our game more than when we were younger. You know, at least that's my opinion on it. I could be completely wrong, but I've seen these golfers together before and they play awful. I actually think Jordan Spieth plays worse than Justin Thomas when they're paired together. And hey, by the way, there's a tool at SweetSpotDFS.com that you can use. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the optimizer here. Under fantasy tools, if you go round by round stats, this is a fun tool to use. While this loads, let me look at a question here. I see a new person in the chat. Is that OCAP SOTB or OK? Either way, if you can bet the hole in one for this tournament, definitely take it. Which hole is, or what holes are the good ones? Is this a tournament that gets a lot of hole in ones? This is a Trump course, correct? Yes. I think it's been a Trump course since 2016. Okay. So what I was saying, if we were to use, Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, there's a tool called the round by round stats. If you go here and you go to opponents for the view right here and you select opponents, if you select, let's go with Justin Thomas. We'll select Justin Thomas. You can get a list of his opponents that he's played, whatever round of golf that he played it at, and who his opponents were. Well, there's also a filter under the tournament stats called opponent. You can go ahead and put in Jordan. Now, before I do this, take a look at the scoring averages. 69.87, 69.72, 69.41, 69.37. His average is 69 something. Averaging over 4 birdies. Not bad, right? Well, let's go ahead and put Jordo in there for opponents. So Jordan Spieth. If you can see, if this was your own screen, you could see through the smoke screen. You can see for round one, Justin Thomas goes from 69.87 to 69.29 in round one. In round two, Justin Thomas normally shoots 69.72. You put Jordan in there and he shoots 69.55. I just realized something. Round 4 for Valspar, JT did not play against. I know why. I know why this is doing this. There's two different. Okay. It's just looking at the tournament events. And the opponent, this field here is the event opponent field where I have all this by round. Okay. I'll have to go and fix that. But either way, you could pick Jordan Spieth, or you could look at Jordan Spieth for any of Justin Thomas's opponents. So, I mean, I guess what we could do is just sort and then go find Jordan Spieth and just look. Justin Thomas shot a 59 playing with Jordan Spieth and Daniel Berger. He followed that up with the 64 with Jordan Spieth and Danny Berger. The Memorial Tournament in 2017, he shot a 69. You know, we can see all the birdies, the pars, even the eagles that have been made. I would say, I mean, if I scroll down, I see a couple 73s with Jordo. Here's an 80 that he shot with Jordo in 2019. That's not great, but the majority of these rounds are under 70. He's played a lot of golf with Jordan Spieth. That's crazy. And then we can also do by opponent 2. Go find all of the Jordan Spieths for golfer 2. 67, 71, 68, 68, 73. That's not great. And 73. That's not great. But I do think it works well for Justin Thomas. I'm going to go ahead and remove Jordo from there, and I'll put Jordan right here. So Jordan Spieth. You can also see that a lot of his averages, 69.97, 69.65, 70, 69.95, kind of just around 70. We go ahead and put Justin Thomas in here. Oh, it gets so much better. Wow. 69.81, 68.95, 68.95, by the way, 69.05, 68.72. So they play well together whenever they're paired up together. We can scroll down to some of the other Justin Thomases here. 65, 67, 66, 72, 71, 69, 65, 72, 65, 67, 70, 75, 72, 70, 64. It ranges quite a bit. There are some high scores, don't get me wrong. I mean, 2020 players, 2018 players. Guess what? The Players Championship is pretty tough. 2020 PGA Championship. Yeah, we could say that's pretty tough too. A lot of good scores with good old JT as a playing partner. Here's some other ones. 65, 70, 66, 70, 69, 68, 69, and then a 75. And that was at the Players Championship. Go figure. So Jordo at the Players Championship with Justin, not super good. But most of the time, Jordo with Justin Thomas, they both play better. They both play better. And again, you could do this with any of the golfers that you want to look at. I'm certainly not going to do that because then this, 2-hour stream will turn into a 5-hour stream. And I know some of you guys like that. I'm not about that this week. We ain't going to do that. But you guys can go ahead and take a look at all of that. Definitely beneficial. And by the way, you can use any of the tools that have these filters over here under tournament stats. If you go to opponent and you select that golfer, whatever golfer that you want that's paired up, with whatever golfer you want to play, you can always go into each of these filters or each of these tools, and under the filters, select their opponent and just see, what their results are. You can use that for the strokes gain tool right here. So if I go ahead and put in the opponent of, just say Justin Thomas, now we'll get, for every golfer that's played with Justin Thomas, who plays the best. That's basically what you'll get here in the last year. But I could just clear it all. And you can see Scotty Scheffler has played 44 rounds with Justin Thomas. That's crazy. Or at least there's 44 rounds of tournaments that he's played with Justin Thomas at least once in. That's kind of confusing. Sahith Theegala. Holy crap. Those at the Fortinet. Okay, that's, yeah. Not a lot of, anyone that has 4 or less than 24 rounds, not super great. Jordo's down here with 59 rounds. And he plays pretty good, 1.494. So if I clear this out and put on this filter, 1.494 is what we're looking for. So if I go back down and I find Jordo, he's 0.72. So he doubles his strokes gain total when he's playing with Justin Thomas. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, a lot of things can go into that, by the way. The weather could have been really perfect, the times that they played together. The course could be set up really easy. Like things like that could happen. But when it comes to just, you know, looking at those two golfers playing together, we can anticipate based off of past performances where they played together, both of them should play better than their base, their averages. So, hey, if you want to anchor around either of those golfers, $7,700 Justin Thomas seems like a pretty good value, but then also Jordo has played really good golf with Justin Thomas in the past. The last group, I know it's been a while since we've been in the Marquee Tee Times, but it's Ben Griffin and JJ Spawn. Ben Griffin, JJ Spawn. And then group 10 is Sepp Straka, Harry Hall, and then group 11 is Jacob Bridgman and Gary Woodland, two basketball players, by the way. I don't anticipate they've played a lot of golf together, but the fact that they can talk about basketball, like just a common thing, I think that helps both of them out. So, there you go, guys. Now, I want you guys to give me 2 to 4 golfers to build lineups around. How many people do I have in the chat? 13? Okay. You need a badge next to your name for me to build lineups. The little badges that Dan Granz has, that Lombardi Lee, Denny Barry. Either hit the join button down below. You only have to be a red tier member, so it's only $1.99 a month. That's all you got to do for me to build lineups. Go click the little join button. You get a nice little red badge next to your name. Or choose the white tier and you'll be able to see member live streams when I go live for only members, which usually is on Wednesday nights that I go live for members only. So go do that. That also gives you a badge next to your name, and I will build lineups for you that way. Dan says, Doral is the site of my one and only appearance on the PGA Tour. I Monday qualified a bit ago, so this event is always fun for me to watch and reminisce. That's awesome, dude. That's super cool. Dan, I didn't know you were such a gamer. That's awesome. I'll put some music on. Screenshot this if you need it. Pause the video, find your 2 golfers, and then hit the live button down below. It's also a good reminder for all of you that might be behind. Hit the live button. Make sure that you're up to date. First one we're going to go with is Yella Scott. Now, I'm guessing that's Adam Scott because you would have said Scotty or you would have said Scheffler if it was someone else. So Adam Scott and Yella Miraju. I'm going to go ahead and copy this over to the side here. And I'm going to change most of these to 100%. I think that's fine. Okay. 5 lineups for Mr. AJ. Fleetwood, Burns, Scott, Griffin, Højgaard, Yella Miraju. That's a pretty solid lineup. Pretty solid. Cam Young, Goddard, Scott Lowry, Harry Hall, Yella Miraju. It's another good lineup. Fleetwood, Goddard, Burns, Scott, Yella Miraju, and Potgieter. I don't want to do that one. Instead, we go Fleetwood, Goddard, Burns, Scott, Yella Miraju, and Novak. That's fine. I'm actually going to change the 9s and the 8s to 2 and 2 apiece. 3 for the 7Ks. Ooh, we get a Scotty lineup. Scotty Scheffler, Adam Scott, Ryan Gerard, Hisatsune, Yella Miraju, and Jordan L. Smith. That's kind of cool. Then we get Fleetwood, Burns, Harris English, Scott, Cootie, and Yella Miraju. That's a solid lineup. Those are 5 lineups for AJ. If you didn't tell, I cruised through those for a purpose. We are just going to cruise. We're going to cruise. We're going to cruise. All right, Nathan Johnson. Young and Burns, Cam Young, Sammy Biscuits. 5 lineups for you. Cam Young, Chris Gotterup, Sam Burns, Justin Thomas, Corey Connors, Ryan Fox. I like it. I don't really like 1099. You don't really see that being a lineup build. Because you do have a 10K golfer, what I'm going to do is change this to only be 1 9K golfer. So now we go Cam Young, Sam Burns, Bridgman, Spieth, Kitayama, and Potgieter. All right, I'm also going to change this to be 1 8K. Like, what I wanted to do is either go 10 9 8 or 10 8 8 and then get into the 7s. That'd be nice. I don't want to see 10 9 and 2 8s. It just never, that doesn't really happen. 10 9 8 and 3 7s. There you go. Cam Young, Burns, Bridgman, Kitayama, Stevens, and Noren. Love it. Cam Young, Burns, Bridgman, Griffin. Oh, it's so close. So close. Yeah, we'll save it. That's fine. Ooh, 10 9 8 7 7 6. Cam Young, Burns, Spieth, Kitayama, Højgaard, and Pendrith. Love it. Cam Young, Burns, English, JT, Cootie, and Gerard. Oh, that seems pretty good, dude. That I like a lot. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, Tommy and Ricky. Oh, doing the fan favorites for Lombardi. I don't hate Ricky this week. Ricky seems like a pretty decent play. We get Cam Young, Fleetwood, Fowler, Lowry, Harry Hall, and Satsune. That's pretty good. Cam Young, Fleetwood, Fowler, Bradley, Stevens, Noren. That's also good. Cam Young, Fleetwood, Spieth, Fowler, Straka, Lipsky. Don't care for that. Young, Fleetwood, Spieth, Fowler, Thigala, and Potgieter. I also don't care for that. Cam Young, Fleetwood, Spieth, Fowler, Day, Grazerman. What is going on? Please stop. Sure, I'll keep this one. Young, Fleetwood, Spieth, Fowler, Smalley, and Bud Colley. Jeez. 10 9 8 3 7s. We get Cam Young, Fleetwood, Fowler, Spawn, Smalley, and Berger. Sure. No, I can't do this. I can't do the, you know, the 2 8s, a 9, and a 7. Here, I'm gonna kick out. This might hurt. It might not let us build lineups. Oh, we're good. We go Fleetwood, English, Fowler, Straka, Spawn, and Jason Day. Okay, I'll do one more for you. Fleetwood, McNeely, Fowler, Kitayama, Højgaard, and Justin Thomas. Okay, it's more of a balanced build for you, but it's doable. It's doable. I'm gonna keep that like that. Lombardi, you are welcome, sir. And same to you, AJ. All right, Ryan wants Spawn, Yellow Miraju, and Rose. Rose. Jaja Spawn, and Yellow Miraju. Okay. Fleetwood, McNeely, Rose, Spawn, Yellow Miraju. That's not terrible. Fleetwood, McNeely, Rose, Spawn, Shane Lowry, and Yellow Miraju. Let's kick out Fleetwood. Cam Young, Sam Burns, Rose, Spawn, Gerard, and Yellow Miraju. That's pretty solid. I'll kick out Gerard. Okay. Cam Young, Sam Burns, Rose, Spawn, Mirage, and Corey Connors. That's a pretty solid lineup. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. I like that lineup a lot. But let's go ahead and kick out Burns. Cam Young, Rose, English, Spawn, Harry Hall, and Yellow Miraju. I don't hate it. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Rose or Spawn, but if you need a good lineup, that one seems pretty solid. And one last one. Cam Young, Jake Knapp, Rose, Spawn, Yellow Miraju, and Jordan Smith. There we go. There's a good one. 21 lineups. But I'm going to replace one of these. These are so good. I can't get rid of those. Yeah, I'll just keep it at 21. That's fine. 21's fine. Cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen. McCarthy plays well on Bermuda. Is this the week for the golf ball? Hey, good call. Denny McCarthy signed golf ball. Denny McCarthy. If he wins this tournament, for anyone who posts Denny McCarthy in my chat after this goes to replay. Not now. Don't post it now. After. On the replay, if you comment down in the comment section, Denny McCarthy. That's it. Just Denny McCarthy. If he wins this week, I will put you in a draw to win that golf ball. So, go for it. Is this the week? I don't think so. I don't think so, but hey, it could be. You might be the only guy that's going to get the golf ball. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. I got nothing left. If you need to reach me at SweetSpotDFS@gmail.com or reach out to me on X. I'll still be awake for a little bit longer, but we're going to manage our time a little bit better moving forward. And since we didn't have a bucket system to talk about, yeah, we didn't really have anything to really go over. So anyways, I will be live tomorrow night, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I know it's late, but it's just my way to get everything else in. And then, you know, stream for you guys for probably an hour, showing you what I'm going to do for the week, and then getting out of there. So, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like on your way out. Subscribe.